Hi, it's Pierre here for Orisha, and I'll present you the app today. So that's the first menu you have into the Orisha app. You have all of your greenhouse, the temperature of each greenhouse, the humidity deficit of each greenhouse, and the section for irrigation. You can edit the name of the greenhouse and the irrigation section by clicking on the pencil. And you can add new greenhouse clicking on the plus sign. And you say, for example, greenhouse one, section. You don't have to put section in each greenhouse. Then okay, so you have 3 greenhouse now. That's the left menu. We'll go through everything on the left menu from farm to settings. So let's begin. This is your username, your farm name, the system time, version, the geographic location. This is very important for the system to know where it is. It will be used for 2 purposes. You will be able to fetch the meteo station temperature, humidity, and wind speed from your local meteo station. And the system will know each time for each day that the sunset and sunrise. And this will be used for the preset irrigation programs and temperature programs. The alarms are set to inform you in case you have a malfunction with the multifunction unit, the sensor, example, if it's unreachable or if it's have low battery power. You can also, if you click edit, you can also add an alarm for the controller if there's a power outage or if there's internet connection failure. And you can put up to 5 phone numbers in this section. And each of these phone number will be called if there is a problem. Let's click save. You can edit the language, the unit system, and the time format. So we've been through the greenhouse. The logbook is a new feature. It's in beta version right now as of May 2022. We won't cover it in this video, but I'll do a video shortly to cover it. The help section is very helpful. It's the troubleshooting guide. So let's say, for example, you have a problem with your sensor, your temperature sensor. You can have a list of possible cause and solution. There's a walkthrough for a lot of the component of the system, and you can manage to solve the problem very quickly with this tool. If we go back to the app, this is the roll down menu. You will be able to choose every one of your greenhouse. There's no limit in the number of greenhouse you can put here. And everything that is below in this menu will control the greenhouse you have selected above. So let's take the webinar greenhouse, go to the control panel. And in the control panel, you'll be able to see the outdoor temperature, the current activity. So right now the roof are closed due to the rain. The state of each devices, the temperature, the humidity, and the wind speed. This is the wind speed provided by the meteo station of your community, local community. And this is the wind speed provided by your in the farm wind speed sensor, speed and direction sensor. So if we go here, we have a manual selection of the cloud cover condition. This is used to alter the different irrigation and temperature program. We'll see it in a bit. And this is the only thing in the control panel that will affect every greenhouse. And the reason is that most of the time, when you have a cloud cover condition, it will affect all of the farm, not just one greenhouse in particular. So if we click on cloudy conditions, it will affect the temperature and the humidity preset of your greenhouse. If you want to click on manual mode of your heat pump, for example, just click on the icon and then you choose if you want to stay in manual mode for, let's say, 30 minutes or maybe 60 minutes or until further notice. And then you click on the checkbox and you can put it at on, put it at off as much as you want. And if you want to put it back, revert back into automatic mode, just click back on the icon and it will go back into automatic mode. For the openings, you can, each time it's in manual mode, you can choose to put the height you want, and it will stay like that as long as you stay in manual mode. And for the automatic mode, you can let it go as the program wants it, and you can also set a maximum opening. So let's say 30% for this case. So if it's 30%, the system will adjust the temperature and will try to adjust the temperature with the roll-ups, and it will move from 0 to 30, and it will never go above 30. And if you want to get rid of this condition, you just put back 100%. It will have the full length of the roll-up to manage the temperature. This is the history menu. It's very useful to see the current and past condition of the greenhouse. You have 24 hours day-night average for temperature and for humidity. And you can see the graph of humidity. You can zoom in, zoom out, and you can see it for every day. There's no limit to the backup. The system will back up like 10 years if you want. It doesn't really matter for your system. It doesn't take a lot of space, so we can back up as long as we want. So if you want to back up or move back and forth, just click the single arrow, and if you want to go back and forth weeks at a time, just to use the double arrow. For irrigation, it's quite the same principle. You have the soil humidity progress. You can have the soil water tension with the tensiometer sensor, or the accumulation of joule per cubic square centimeter for the solar sensor. And you can see each time your valve was activated. You can also zoom on the y-axis of your graph, clicking on the... Maybe you cannot. I thought you can't. So yeah, and for each section, you can choose a section of your greenhouse. Let's say in the webinar greenhouse, I want to choose a section pepper. I'll have the information about this section or the tomato section. I can see the no, this is not a feature we released yet, so you'll be able maybe to see the outdoor temperature, but it's not released yet. Now let's go to the program, and we'll go back to device and sensor and alarm after. So this is the core of the Orisha system. That's how we make it simple. The temperature is a range. So if you want maybe at night, if you had sunny condition during the day, you want to keep it a little other in the greenhouse. And if you have cloudy condition, you will need to most of the time want to keep it a little cooler. So that's why you have different settings that you can put in, and the system will try to stay in between these temperatures. You can put a shorter range if you want. If you say maybe I want to between 19 and 21, this is also available. And you can put a mean temperature. This way the system, if you say, for example, at night I want it to be a mean temperature of 18 Celsius or in the morning 20 Celsius, the system will try to obtain this mean temperature by staying plus 2 degree or plus 2 degree, minus 2 degree around the target temperature. And if at the end of the period it wasn't able to, near the end of the period, if it wasn't able to maintain the mean temperature, it will go a bit further up or a bit further down to make sure it has, at best, try to maintain the mean temperature for the period. And each period is night is from the sunset, sunset to sunrise, sunset to 1 hour before sunrise. The morning is 1 hour before sunrise to 1 hour and a half after sunrise, and the day is 1 hour and a half after sunrise to the sunset. With every program, you can choose to prioritize the type of ventilation you want. You can, for example, have ventilation priority with the fans or with the side curtains on the roof, or you can choose to be dynamic. So if you choose the little temperature icon here, every time the temperature outside is below 12 Celsius, it will use the fan to be more gentle on the crops. And every time the outside temperature is above 12 Celsius, it will prioritize the roof or side openings. You can also use stages to eat at different stage with your furnaces. For example, if you have a 3-stage furnace, you can choose like H1 is the stage 1, H2 is the stage 2, H3 is the stage 3, and it will eat your greenhouse more gradually. So let's cancel this one. The dehumidification is also a very important part of the Orisha system. It's what our clients use a lot to prevent diseases, and it's the way it works is with the humidity sensor, you'll have the option to open the side curtains or the roof at a certain opening. Like for this example, it's 5% for 6 minutes every 40 minutes, and you can choose to have it with heating or without heating, and this will get rid of the humidity for a certain period of time. It will, of course, the humidity will most of the time go back to where it was, but this short period of drier air will cut the cycle of development of most moldy disease for your crops, and it's very useful to avoid using pesticides or to avoid having big problem with pesticide resistant, or if you are in the organic culture, it's very interesting to have this kind of feature to avoid the most disease as you can. And this is based on the humidity deficit program. So at night you can say you want maybe a humidity deficit of 2.5 to 7. At day you want to have a humidity deficit of 3 to 7 grams per cubic meter. And the reason there's a maximum humidity deficit is because you don't want to have an air that is too dry, and the program will stop dehumidifying. It will stop dehumidifying at above 3, and it will stop your HAF fans above 7. Yeah. The misting is quite interesting too. It's if you want to add humidity into the air, the system will. So this during this period, if it's above a certain threshold of humidity deficit, you can add misting to your system, and you can choose, for example, to have a misting that is on 1 hour after sunrise till maybe 1:16 in the PM, and then 7 hours before sunset. There's no irrigation. There's no misting in the greenhouse. If you click save, then if you go to irrigation, you have different irrigation program. Yeah, we have the 3 irrigation program. The first one is the simplest. It's the one that use timers. So you have 3 different scenarios. If you have a sunny day, you can have as much as you want irrigation trigger time. So every time it triggers, it would trigger the valves, the pepper valve for 5 minutes. So it will trigger at 10, 10:30, 12, 13, 14. And if it's a cloudy day, it will trigger only twice during that day. But you can put as much period per day as you want. The second way to do it is with sunlight. So for example, if during sunrise from let's say from sunrise, which in this case today on May 20th is 5:07 in our region, till 1 hour after sunrise, we choose not to irrigate during this period. And then from 1 hour after sunrise, we choose to irrigate every time we have an accumulation of 150 joule per square centimeter. We'll irrigate for 3 minutes, and then we have a timeout of, let's say, 12 hours, a bit excessive, 12 minutes. And then it will do that until 18:16. which is in our case 2 hours before sunset, and we don't want to irrigate into this period. So this is very flexible, and you can use this kind of timer as well for your lighting system. The last way you can irrigate is with tensiometer. So for example, we have a tensiometer here for the valve cucumber, or we can set it with the valve we want. So let's use the valve cucumber. This is based on the midnight period. So every program will start at midnight. So the first thing we said is that the first period will be 10 o'clock. So we decide that we won't irrigate between midnight and 10 o'clock or 9:59. And then from 10 o'clock, every time the tensiometer reach a threshold of 12 kPa, kilopascal, it will irrigate for 5 minutes. It will wait 30 minutes, and then it will do that every 30 minutes if the tension rise above 12 kPa. It will do that until 17 o'clock, and then we won't irrigate. We choose not to irrigate from 17 o'clock to midnight. But we could irrigate maybe at a higher threshold from 17 o'clock to midnight. So for example, we want to irrigate at 20 kPa for 3 minutes, and that buffer time of 30 minutes. Save, it will irrigate from 17 o'clock to midnight at 20 kPa, and it will irrigate from 10 o'clock to 17 o'clock at 12 kPa for 5 minutes every 30 minutes if needed. So that's for the irrigation program. Now the devices, that's related to the way the system is configured. Once it's configured, we don't really have to do it again, but I'll show it for the sake of the video. So this is the heater, the mister, the roll up, the fans, the HEF. The way it works is every multifunction box that we show in the earlier video we did at the farm Les Jardins d'Elisabeth, every multifunction box have an address between 1 and 20. Also, that's the address we see here, address 2. And in the box, you have 2 motors that you can plug in, 2 24-volt motors for side curtains. And you have 10 relays that you can put a fan or HEF, mister furnaces. And this is the number. So either the heater here is on the relay 1 of the multifunction box 13, and the propane furnace is in the relay 1 of the multifunction box 2. That's how we address them. And it's very simple. You just click on the pencil, or when you add one, you can just, let's say, for example, just add one here. Let's say we want to add heater. So heater 1. This is the multifunction box address 3, and it's on the relay 3. For example, I click add, and I now have a new heater here. And it's the same thing for irrigation. You can have different valves, and you can also put pumps. The way pumps works is every time a valve is assigned to a pump, if there's 2 or more valves assigned to a pump, it will not irrigate at the same time, because we don't want to overload the pump. So let's, for example, we have pepper and cucumber on this pump. Pepper will be able to irrigate at the same time as tomato, but it won't be able to irrigate at the same time as cucumber. And the way it works, it will be queued after cucumber, for example. So if we have a time for irrigation that matches, and they're supposed to start at the same time, if the pepper and cucumber are supposed to start at the same time, they will be queued. So for example, cucumber will start, and then after that pepper, and they will do their irrigation as planned, but they won't do it at the same time, not to overload the pump. The sensor is quite the same thing. You have the sensors available, and if you want to, let's say I want to add an outdoor temperature sensor, I'll just click on the plus. Maybe it's the address 200. It's written on the device, and it will fetch the temperature and humidity for this device. For example, we have a temperature inside the greenhouse of 23. We have an humidity of 73%. The signal is deemed awesome. The way it works is we guarantee that the signal will be usable within a 250 range line of sight of the central controller. So as long as you have a central controller that is in the 250 feet line of sight, we guarantee that it will work. Otherwise, we'll change it. And the battery here, you can see the battery is full. If you have a bigger installation with many greenhouses, and you have maybe like 1,000 feet across all of your greenhouse, the way it works is we'll put different central controller in your farm, and every central controller will be within 250 feet from every multifunction box and every sensors. So you have the wind sensor, the direction and the speed, the rain, the sun sensor, the current intensity of the sensor, of the light, and you have the tensiometer. The tensiometer are assigned to different sections for irrigation. And last thing is the temperature alert and soil humidity alert. So you can set for each greenhouse, you can have different low temperature and high temperature. So when for example, in this greenhouse, when the temperature goes below 12 Celsius, or if it goes over 35, it will call all the phone numbers in the farm section that we saw earlier in this video. And same thing for the soil sensor. If the sensor go above or below a certain threshold, it will call all the phone numbers. And you see here the procedure. The phone number for the Orisha automation system is this number. So the people will receive a phone call from this number. And it's configured that it will call back every 20 minutes if the problem is not solved, or if the person did not deactivate the alarms. So that's quite it for today. I'll be showing the logbook in the next video. So hope you enjoyed the video. And if you have any other questions, just feel free to contact me at orisha.io. My name is Pierre. Thank you very much.